Welcome to all inspiring chefs, cooks, and everything in between alike. This is Griever, your host as always, bringing you guys Shokugeki, no, Souma, Food Wars, Season 5. Why didn't you guys tell me about this? Why was I informed so late? Because these episodes were produced in April. I know they're making a comeback now after this whole pandemic thing, but I had no idea. I was not aware. But either way, I have to apologize because this is a quick message before we get into the main video, the review for episode 1 of season 5. And the reason I'm making this video, or this short message in front, is because unfortunately when I found out about this, it was quite late at night. Maybe I had too many of these. I'm not sure. Either way, audio was recorded fine. Everything was fine. But the video encoding was very blurry and very laggy. And I've tried numerous ways to fix it, but at the end of the day, I watched all 3 episodes currently out. And to be patient with me, guys, I don't have time to re-record all 3 episodes. I don't have time to go back, make sure I make all the same points, because I felt like at least the first and second video were done fairly well. I might take the time to re-record episode 3 because that would catch me up right away. I might find the time to do that, but for this episode review, it's going to be audio only. We're going to be basically doing a PowerPoint slideshow sort of idea, some images, blah, blah, blah. Because the audio was saved and the audio is fine. It's just that the video was so laggy and blurry that I don't want to show it to you guys. I don't want to give you that kind of lack of quality. And at the same time, I just don't feel like I have enough drive in me or enough time to give you more, like to re-record and give you the same passion that was in the audio. I tried a couple times to redo this episode review, and I feel like still the initial one, after first watching the first episode and just hitting record right afterwards, like still listening to the ending song, I feel like that's still the best. So I didn't really have a choice. I hope you guys understand that. And anyways, this is just a quick message to let you know why there's not really going to be much of a video feed for the first 2 episode reviews of Shokugeki no Souma Season 5. But I hope you guys are still here, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Welcome to all inspiring chefs, cooks, and everything in between alike. This is Griever, your guys' host as always. Man, that feels good to say because I'm bringing you some more Shokugeki no Souma content. This is Season 5, Episode 1. Didn't even know it was out. Didn't even know the first couple of episodes were even released. Guys, that's my fault with the whole thing in the world that we can't say on YouTube. Yeah, but I found out someone was kind enough to comment on one of my former videos, and now I know about it, and now I'm playing catch up. Thankfully, we only are 3 or 4 episodes in, and I'm excited. I'm going to be, I'll try to get the first few episodes so we're caught up, and I'll try to keep this consistent and up to date for all you guys. So I know that these first couple episodes were released in April of this year. That's my bad for not being on the ball with that stuff. But in all honesty, I was quite worried because this arc sucks. Let's just get that out of the way. For a manga reader, this arc was terrible. This arc had so many problems, so many issues, right? So I thought before watching this first episode, I'd go back and I'd read volume 1, or not volume 1, the volume that this arc started, and I did. And it has absolutely nothing to do with this episode. I'm so happy about that. I am thrilled that they are taking some of the core aspects of this arc, but they seem to not want to plot layer, because the biggest problem, without spoilers guys, the biggest problem was the direction of this last arc. This is the final arc of Shokugeki no Souma, and it was oversaturated with this like 20 plot lines, and you didn't know which one, and they would drop them at the drop of a hat. Like it was like they were hyped up in one chapter and then completely gone in the next. All right, we're moving on to the next plot. And it was consistent, and it constantly happened. and there was all new elements introduced, and it just seemed like stack, 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 right? It was a huge problem. This episode takes the beach episode. We're skipping a lot of information, actually. I know we got some hints at the epilogue at the end of season 4, but we're skipping a lot of the bulk of what the problem setup at the very beginning of this arc had. We're skipping a lot of that due to it was crap, and also the season 4 epilogue pretty much covered it. It wasn't a huge deal. Now we're jumping straight into the second year exams, the beach episode, right? And I really like this because we get a mixture of the beach episode, but we also introduce our new character, Suzuki. We met him at the end. He's a sensei. He's a professor. We met him at the very tail end of the epilogue in the last season. Now, clearly seems to have an ulterior motive. Once again, I'm not going to do manga spoilers here, guys. But this episode handled this extremely well. And hopefully, once we get some more reveals about everything that's going on in the next few episodes, I'll be able to talk about how this was handled in the manga versus how this is handled, because this is basically a whole new take. Yet, yes, it's the same. Like, you can go into the manga and you can see this chapter, you can see this episode. But it's handled subtly differently, but it works. We have the beach episode, it's the contest and everything, and it all looks all pretty and stuff. This Suzuki character, we're not too sure. He seems to have a bit of a problem or an issue with the first seat, Yukihira Souma. Souma is able to kind of tell this right away, and he doesn't really like the look in his eyes. We can tell that from the first part of this episode where he introduces himself to Souma. Then after this fact, we also get some inclusions that were not in, and I like this part because anime has the chance. Anime seasons have the opportunity, especially when a manga has ended and it was poorly received by fans. Anime has this unique chance to take the core elements of what fans liked and change it. Remember, once again, this is anime, not original video animation. OVA and anime are two different things. And if you look back, the further you go back in anime, the more you'll see that it is not a carbon copy panel for panel of the manga. In fact, they change endings, entire arcs, stories, character developments, sometimes for the worse, but sometimes for the better. In this case, I hope they're doing this properly. I have good hopes now after watching this episode. I have such higher hopes than I ever had for Shokugeki no Souma, because I did read the last arc. And this is the anime's opportunity to do it better, to do it properly. And so far, I'm really enjoying it, especially, as I said, there was the ocean course, but then we see with all our, fan favorite characters, but then we also see the characters that kind of drop off, that we don't really get to see anymore, and that's a serious problem, but I enjoy it here, because what we see is, we see this river course where we're seeing the other characters of the Polar Star dorm, the two twin bros, forget their names. We see the Chinese-styled restaurant woman, who I think her name began with an R. That's my bad for forgetting all these names. We see her there. We see one of the chef that never smiles, the professor, alongside our lovely culinary witch in the background and such. We're seeing all these characters that weren't really relevant anymore because they were good at the time in previous arcs, but now they're just like, but it's nice to see them in the background, if at all, because they're here. They are still characters, and we're glad to see them. So it's really nice that they included that. This was certainly not in the manga. I don't remember seeing actually any of these characters for the rest of the series. So there is that. There's a challenge on the beach in this episode, of course. They each have to take a restaurant, take it under their wing, 3 days. They split up into groups, and they have 3 days to make 3 million yen. I don't really... yen is a cent per dollar, so that's like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to do the math. Is it $30,000? Something like that? Anyways, point is, the Elite 10 actually get to team up, but they have the most handicaps, and it sucks. and they're constantly fighting, and we see them bickering. The new Elite 10. The others have graduated, sort of idea. The second years, the third years, of course, don't need to compete. So we don't have Aizen, we don't have Nene, we don't have Kuga, we don't have Ashiki, we don't have any of them. But it's Aldini, it's Rio, it's Hayama, it's Souma. We get all them, right? And Alice, Megami, and they're all working together in this handicapped position. Now there is a first-year character named, I think I have his name here. He's Daki Kanaba Ken. Probably saying that name wrong, probably butchering it, but either way, he's this bowl cut character, looks like Friar Tuck in his younger years, and he's been challenging Souma apparently this whole time, and he's like, ha ha ha, I can't wait to finally defeat you. The Elite 10 is making this easy for me because I'm selling and I'm doing great. You guys suck. You can't win, sort of idea. Azumi gets pretty mad at this and stuff like that. She gets pretty ticked, our lovely Meat-san. But Souma brings up the fact that this is exactly what Totsuki is supposed to be like. Like, that's a great first-year kid. Like, every Totsuki chef should be trying to get a part of the Elite 10. And this is just his way of doing it. He's challenged to the first seat a dozen times, failed every time. So he's trying other methods. He's going to beat him in this type of competition or that one or that one. He's always striving to beat and get into the Elite 10. That's what all of them should be striving for. That's the only way they'll improve. And Souma's got a serious point. So there's also a very nice scene that I don't remember in the manga with some massage chairs, with some bouncy bits, some very, very, very. Hold on a sec. Very nice bits. Either way, so that's of course 3 girls. They're chilling on the massage chairs afterwards. We also get the conversation. This is of course also in the manga, but it ends quite differently, and I hope to be able to talk about it eventually. But no spoilers. We have Souma and Arena talking, and they talk a little bit about their families and stuff like that on the balcony. It's a bit of a romantic moment between, of course, Arena and Souma. And it's quite nice. And then Souma ends up talking about his mother, saying she wasn't a very good chef. She was crude and rude and sort of idea, lousy chef. But her and her dad and his dad got along really well and stuff. And they used to cook in the kitchen together. And it reminds him he loves cooking with people because he used to cook with his family. Erna drops a little hint about that maybe she doesn't get along with her mother too well, and we see Professor Suzuki looking pretty devious, listening in on this conversation. Of course, the end of the episode has Aldini, Rio, and Souma going nuts. I keep swapping the surname for the first name, sort of idea, in characters. Like Takumi Aldini, I like calling him Aldini. I like calling Souma instead of Yukihira, and I like calling Rio. That's just what I do. I swap Hayama and Akira, sometimes. But yeah, so just apologies for that, guys, if you're finding that weird. It's just the name that I'm associating them with. Because I also, of course, I read the Viz, but when it was coming out, of course, I read it in a different way. So the names were a little different. Either way, the episode ends with them going nuts. They're chopping away. 2 days went by. They didn't make a single yen. And then they ended up making 3.5 million yen off of a very interesting, like a live, one of those sort of kitchen shows sort of idea where you watch the one of those open bar chefs sort of idea. I forget what they're called, where you basically watch the chef, and it's supposed to be a bit of a show. They flip the knives, they do the whole thing. They cook in front of you to give you a bit of a performance alongside of great food. It's definitely a good tactic to bring people in, but of course the aroma and Hayama, being the spice expert with his nose, created a perfect blend to draw all the customers away from all the other beach houses on the third day, and then they could get enough, of course, of the Elite 10's food when he had 6 members of the Elite 10 going at it. I think it was 6. Yeah, them all going at it. Now, after this, so they win, everybody's fine, the Polar Star dorm wins, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. Very end of the episode is our first seat original alongside of Joshiro in Dojima. And he presents that no one's going on summer vacation by the sounds of it, because it is time for blue. And the blue is apparently, and I'll make sure I'm getting this right, is the Boshuko leading under 25 entrance. That's what it actually means. So it basically means all great chefs under the age of 25. I'm glad they changed this. I'll have to go and double check the Viz, because maybe the Viz fixed it as well. I do own the hard copies. Because originally it was under the age of 35. And that drew a lot of issues in the coming, episodes and chapters and the like. I'm glad that right here in black and white it says chefs under the age of 25 competition. It's the big competition that, if you recall from the previous season, Joshiro was supposed to compete at. He was the crown jewel of Totsuki. He was going to go and win the blue, the most prestigious competition in the cooking world for young chefs. And he decided not to go, and we know his backstory at this point. So, very interesting. He came there, basically name dropping the blue competition, and that's where the episode ends. So, honestly, this episode is so much better. It brings in all the plot points and handles each one, I feel, far better than the manga did. So far, I'm very intrigued. I'm very happy on how clearly the anime writing staff went into the room and went, okay, there was a lot of problems. We need to keep the same characters. We need to keep the same plot relatively, and we need to keep, the conclusions and stuff, but we need better ways to go about this. This was a haphazard mess, and they clearly went in and rewrote it and redid it. Sort of like, a rebooting a franchise or a series in a movie. Or the retelling from a book to a movie or a TV show and the like. You're going to make lots of changes. Sometimes it doesn't even, only the premise remains. But once again, that's what anime used to be. Nowadays, anime is basically an OVA of manga. But back in the day, not even, a decade ago, anime was basically taking the premise, characters, and plot of the first arc of a manga and then doing their own thing. That used to be sort of the case. So I'm glad to see that is not lost in anime. It's not lost in the anime community, because now they have a chance to do it right. I know I keep harping on that. This is probably going to be the longest episode review, but we're just starting it. I'm just super hype. I wanted to explain my thoughts, my reasonings, why I was late, all that fun jazz. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Shokugeki no Souma, Season 5 of Food Wars, Episode 1 review. Really, really enjoyed it. I'll be getting to Episode 2 as quick as I can, guys. I hope to be caught up here by the end of this week or next week, and then we'll be able to just go from there. So, thanks guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to. Drink responsibly as always, and this has been Griever. Keep cooking, ladies and gentlemen. See you back here next time.